All right, well, our next speaker grew up in the Northwest. And we have not had, that's right, we have not had many speakers from the Northwest. In fact, the first speaker we've ever had was just last April in Cabo, Kim Fraser. Kim, good job, you out there. And now I get to introduce our next speaker from the Northwest. Michelle was a track star in junior high school. She was a sprinter, and she was fast in high school. She set records. She got noticed, went on to play, I don't know, do you play sprinting in college? But she played college sports called sprinting. She's fast. She's quick. She gets out of college. She gets into real estate. She buys a Century 21 franchise and kills it. Does what she does. You can't stop a winner from winning. And then she found EXP just a few years ago, got in, and I knew she would just annihilate this. So help me welcome to the Build Stage 2022, Michelle Wilson, everyone. Woo!
All right. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. It's a little surreal to me because I feel like I'm the new girl in the room that literally just got here. And I was actually surprised when I had to give them the dates and that it's been exactly 2 years. So I'm honored. I'm actually honored just to be in this room. And thank you, Brent and James. So it's an honor to speak to you guys. I know it's a huge responsibility. So I hope to share some things that I think will help no matter where you are in this journey, just getting started. We've been on this path for a long time. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So I want to talk with you guys a little bit today about decisions, because we have to remember we're always one decision away from a totally different life. And I'm going to share a story with you guys where I found myself in a really interesting position about 3 years ago. But before I tell that story, I want to do something with you guys for just a moment. And I want you to take a few minutes and I want you to think about your life right now. Right? I want you to think about your life right now. And I want you to ask yourself the question, am I living the life that I want to live? And honestly, right? Am I truly living the life that I want? And it goes a lot deeper than that, right? We need to ask, how is our relationship with our spouse? Now, careful with that one, because it's not to inspire any divorces, right? Seriously, how is our relationship with our spouse? How is our relationship with our kids? How is our health? And it's not just our physical health, right? How is our mental health? And what about our finances? What about our business? If you're someone like me, you have a business partner, what is your relationship like with your business partner? And we need to ask ourselves these honest questions. Because if you're anything like me, we have big goals, right? And we start grinding, we start running after them, whether it is that you're trying to become the top producer in your office, double your production this year, you're building the #1 team in your marketplace, the #1 office, it doesn't matter what it is, all of that's amazing. But I think that we lose sight sometimes of what we really want our life to look like and what it is that we're doing this to begin with. So you gotta stop and ask yourself those really serious questions, right? What is it we actually want, right? I want time with my family. I wanna be in great health. I wanna travel and experience life. Right? I want to have zero debt. I want to inspire and pour into people, right? What is it you actually want? And I think some of us, when you're exposed to all this, are going to make some decisions because we never before had this opportunity. But now we're here. So I'm going to jump right in. So I've been in real estate for a long time. I kind of actually just fell into it by accident right out of college. And it was right after the market crash that I found myself in a leadership position really early on in my career. And that's what created this love and this passion for building and serving people. And it was because of that sense of purpose that I found that I was able to build a thriving real estate organization. And I loved everything about it. I loved what I did every day. And because it wasn't ever a job to me, right? I worked around the clock and I always wanted to keep growing and keep growing and keep working and building with more people. Now, oops, sorry, I forget my slides. There's the honestly slide. So my business partner and I, right, we had a big dream, and we wanted to build an organization where we could pour back into our agents and create an environment that would allow them to succeed at a high level, allow them to get there faster. We wanted to provide the best sales coaching, the best sales systems, the best technology, the best lead generation, the best back-end support. And we wanted to create this environment that allowed them to reach their goals faster. And that was our dream, that was our goal. So we went to work. We started with a small team, built that into a larger team. We ended up building one of the largest franchises in our local market in Washington State. And then even then, we kept looking at, well, how do we make this better for our agents? How do we compete? How do we keep up? What do we do? We ended up franchising, built one of the largest Century 21s, and we had a really aggressive listing organization. We had 180 agents across the state of Washington. And I had a large call center, so I had a lot of ISAs, had a big listing lead generation platform, not only for our organization and our agents locally, we licensed that with other partners all across the country. And we ran a big VA model, so a lot of support systems, right? We probably had 30 virtual assistants on staff, our large call center, and we were building our organization, supporting our agents. And the most important decision we made, period, in our business was hiring a coach. I had the privilege of coaching directly with Mike Ferry to build our brokerage for probably the past 10 years. And he is who helped to guide us. It went from us just figuring out on our own to building a true sales organization with our people. So that had the most profound impact on our business. And we were helping agents achieve their production goals. I loved everything about it, right? We've been on this journey for a long time. We had a 5-year goal, right, to keep growing that, keep expanding that. We wanted to get to 500 agents running kind of this very hands-on model, and it was amazing until it wasn't. Because you see, real estate brokerages are a funny thing, and I think to people on the outside it looks really cool, and you think we have it all together, and I think it might even be perceived that you're at the top of the industry. But building a business like this comes at a very high cost. And there are some problems, there are some frustrations, there are some stresses that made it really hard for me to sleep at night, right? That caused some challenges in our business. And here's the reality, no matter the success, no matter how good it looks, no matter how well it's going, it doesn't matter. There are problems that a real estate brokerage owner cannot solve, period. And there were a lot of things that were a challenge for me, so I'll jump into those. So the cost. The first one, liability and expenses, right? The more success we had, the more we grew. So did our overhead, so did our staff, so did our liabilities. And I remember being so excited when we started our brokerage, right? It was so exciting, we own our own office, it's so cool. And then I gotta have $100,000 in overhead a month, and then $200,000. And then I gotta have like 30 people on payroll. And that kept growing. And then I got to sign my name on leases. That was really exciting. And then I got to take on the liability of hundreds and thousands of transactional sites every single year. Well, the bigger you grow, that becomes a big weight on your shoulders. At least for me, it made it very hard for me to sleep at night. And there were certain stresses that created. Now, I didn't know that there was a better way. I did not know there was a way to build our organizations where all of that is off your plate. Thank you, Len Sanford, right? The second one, agent turnover. So as real estate agents, right, we build our teams, we build our companies to get off the transaction treadmill, right? In reality, we step immediately onto the real estate recruiting treadmill. You do not have a business if you are not recruiting agents, just like if we're not generating our clients, right? And unfortunately, agent turnover is our industry. That is the reality, right? Agent turnover is our industry, and it's part of the process. You have to not be attached to the outcome. Very Mike Ferry trained. And I looked at it as my job to slow down that process by providing so much value to our agents. We were gonna slow that down as much as possible. Because even the agents that you think are gonna be with you forever, right? The ones that you think are gonna be your lifers, they won't. Because their job is to serve them and their families, not you and your company. There are many of you in this room right now, I know, because I have these conversations all the time, that thought you were gonna be at your company forever until you weren't, right? Your top producers will leave you. They're all going to. They're gonna say, Michelle, I love you, thank you for everything that you've done, but I wanna build something bigger. I wanna build something bigger for myself. I want what you have. And that is the reality of what we're in. And as owners, we pour our hearts and our souls into our agents, right? I love my agents. We're working with them every single day for years. And that agent turnover treadmill, that makes you really, really tired after a while, right? I see some nodding because I know there's several other broker owners in here. It makes you really tired. I didn't know there was another way. I didn't know there was another way to provide something for our people where they got to have that upside, where they got to build something for themselves and their families. And I had another big problem. It was my exit strategy, right? I think if anyone's like me, I think there's a lot of us where we just have our head down and we're grinding and we're grinding and we're building and building and building, and we think that at the end of all of this, there's gonna be a big payout and there's gonna be something that takes care of our families. But that's not the reality. It's not how it works. Our asset is our agents, who in most cases, in a lot of cases, were there for me, right? It was my passion to help them. It was my ecosystem. It was my culture. It was me every single day there with them in that office. And yeah, you can try to replace yourself. That doesn't turn out. It's never the same, right? We can sell our companies, right? But again, that's tied to our agents staying there. And even when you do sell, your income doesn't stay the same, nor does it keep growing. So I didn't know there was another way to solve that massive problem in what I was building. And if you know this, right? If you know what people like us struggle with, and you know to ask the right questions, there are a lot of people out there right now looking for the solution that they have no idea already exists. They have no idea. Not only to solve all of their problems, but to exponentially expand and grow what they're doing by 10x, 50x, exponentially above that, what they can't even comprehend as possible, and all with true leverage. Now, there's one more cost. My opinion is the biggest one of all, and I think it's something that everybody in here can relate to, right? I think it's something that we all go to because we get into real estate to have the time and the freedom, right? But that doesn't necessarily happen. Then we start our teams, we start our companies to get that time and freedom. That also doesn't happen, right? And if you're anything like me, like I was sharing, I loved what I was doing. I was working around the clock. I wanted to keep growing. I wanted to keep building what I was doing, and I loved it. But in reality, it was my family that suffered the most. It's my family that suffered the most. And all of those years, in the height of it all, and it was exciting, it was fun, I loved all of it. I'm grinding away, I'm building what I'm doing, and my husband, in a relationship of 20 years, falls apart, and he leaves, and he moves to another state. And 2 weeks after he left, I found out I was pregnant. So now, I'm raising my daughter on my own, I'm running this massive business, and I'm literally in my mind like, okay, I gotta build it bigger, I gotta get there faster, I gotta get there now. So what do I go do? I thought that if I built it big enough, or if I made enough money, it would solve my problems. That's what I thought. But my real problem was when I looked up and I realized I'd missed the first 4 years of my daughter's life. All of it. And you don't get that back. And so it was at that moment I had to ask myself those honest questions, right? Was I living the life that I wanted? Was I taking care of myself and my family first? The answer obviously was no. And it was at that moment where it was literally all of my satisfaction in what I was doing. It was just gone. It immediately left. That sense of purpose that I had all of these years that drove me completely went away. And I literally went into my office the next day. I sat my business partner down and I said, I'm not happy, I'm out. I'm leaving in 6 months. 8 months later, I walked away from all of it. Everything I had built for almost 14 years, I left all of it. I wanted nothing to do with it anymore. It was too painful what I had created, and even with all the successes. And I said, I'm out. I bought a house in Arizona, and I literally just left with my daughter. And I finally had the courage, it's a big quote for me, I finally had the courage to break the patterns in my life that were no longer serving me or my family. Thank you. And some of you might even ask, well, if you built something so great, because it really was. I loved it. I had such an incredible experience with everything I did all those years. If you built something so great and you found the solution that literally solved all of those problems, why would you just walk away from everything? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because I had no idea, that EXP existed. I had no idea this opportunity was here because nobody told me. Nobody. And I'm a true believer because I had to go through all of that. And I had to leave everything I created just to find out the solution was already here. I just had no idea. Do you realize that the majority of our industry has that mindset right now? This is the majority of our industry thinks exactly like that. My plan was to take 6 months off, spend it with my daughter, and I was gonna research platforms, I was gonna research partners, because I knew I was gonna rebuild again. I was convinced there had to be a better way, I just didn't know it was already here. I was like, I gotta figure it out somehow, whatever it takes. And it was at that time where I stepped away from everything and just grinding my whole entire life, right? I don't remember anything other than building this business with my head down. And it was when all of that weight came off my shoulders, all of that, just all that responsibility, all that liability, all that stress, all that time that I didn't have, that I got perspective. And it gave me perspective on what I wanted my life to be like. And so I went back to the drawing board and I said, okay, I'm gonna rebuild my business, but I'm gonna do it this time living the life that I want to live, not the other way around. So I began, thank you. I began with the end in mind. Now, I always have to say thank you to Chris Syme, my sponsor. I'm forever grateful to him because he finally told me about EXP. I realized what it was. I met all the incredible people here, and I made that move. Now, I didn't come to EXP. My clock's not running. I didn't come to EXP. I didn't come to EXP just because it solved all of my problems as a broker owner. You have to remember at the time, I literally didn't have a brokerage anymore, right? I didn't come just for that. The reason I came to EXP is because it solved the problem and provided something to our agents that we never had before. We could never have provided them the opportunity like this to build something for themselves and their families. It never existed before. That's why I'm here. When I was building my own company, I was the only one excited about building it, right? Because it was mine. Now we have hundreds of agents that are excited to build our business. And we're helping others do the same. And we're helping their families. That's why I came here. So with EXP, I traded 14 years for one. Still blows my mind. I feel like I tell people I've been here for like a year, and now I have to say 2 years. 14 years for one. It took me less than a year to rebuild from scratch the same size team and organization that took me 14 years. And all the other fun stuff that I shared. And I live a life now, which is wild to me because 2 years ago, I couldn't comprehend what my life is like now. I couldn't comprehend it. I live between 2 states. I live between Arizona and Washington because I can. I travel and experience life with my daughter because I can. We literally travel everywhere because we're weirdos on one-ways, but it's because we can. And I build a business every single day with my best friends. And we're helping, again, other people do the same and to build something for them and their families. That's why I'm here. And that is the best part, at least in my opinion, period, about our organization, okay? It's the people, it's this room, it's that we're building together, okay? When I knew it was EXP, I called my few closest relationships and I said, I found where we're gonna go build together. You're not gonna do this alone, right? And I couldn't do it without my organization, all of my partners. I know there's a whole bunch of them here right now. I couldn't do it without my partner in crime, Chad Cooley. He's running this crazy stuff with me from all the way to the beaches in Thailand. And my founding partners, you know who you are because I know you're all back there in the room right now. You trusted me and took that leap of faith when I made that call. And you didn't even hesitate. You just said, Michelle, where are we going? That's why this is so powerful, is because we're building something together. That's why it's so powerful. That's why it's a mission. So, did I forget my slides? Oh, some of you guys, this is my beautiful daughter, my whole world. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to just have the opportunity of EXP and everyone in this room. It's truly changed my life. But we're gonna make a decision, right? Some of you guys are gonna make a decision because we have to realize our decisions we make don't just impact ourselves. They impact our teams, they impact our children, They impact our children's children. They impact all the people that we care about. That's how important these decisions are. And the last couple of things I'll wrap with. I'm speaking right now to those of you that aren't yet here, and you're wondering, right? You're questioning, is this real? And I'm also speaking to those in this room that are here with us, but you're just sitting on the sidelines. You're thinking, okay, well, this is great, and if it happens by accident, maybe if I get lucky, or maybe you're too head down in your business on the grind to make growing this a priority, an intentional priority in your business. I'll end with this. I want you guys to write this down, or for whoever this matters for, but if you don't do this, what is the consequence? Seriously, if you don't do this, if you don't hit that freedom goal, what is the consequence? Because if you're anything like me, the thought of that pain is a far greater motivator. So what is the consequence? We are truly changing an industry, and EXP is that vehicle to freedom. You have the coach, you have the playbook, the road's already been paved for all of us, so you're gonna make a decision. You're either gonna play it small and safe, or you're gonna get in the driver's seat and drive. So thank you. Thank you for having me, everybody.